All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Simmer. I work for the Office of the Small Business Assistance Office. That's part of Department of Employment and Economic Development. I am recording the meeting today. This is a monthly meeting, second Tuesday of every month from 2 to 3 p.m. We call this the Small Business Call. We do this with our partners as I go grab that the graphic I wanted to use. Our partners are the Minnesota Chamber, the Small Business Administration, um, the Minnesota Small Business Development Centers, and the Better Business Bureau. What we try and do is just have a conversation with small business owners and other organizations, some of our other partners that help serve those. And today's topic is small business administration services that they offer. And our guest speaker or presenter or just all around good guy is Don Jackson from the Small Business Administration. And I am going to turn it over right away to Don. Here you go, Don.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your busy day to attend the call. I am going to be providing a little bit of information about resources that are available to veterans and their spouses. So, again, I am Don Michael Jackson. I am the Veterans Business Development Officer. I'm also a 13-year veteran of the United States Navy. And I'm going to provide an overview of the SBA programs and assistance that support veteran-owned small businesses. Myself and the SBA believe that veterans make great entrepreneurs because you've been required to be disciplined and work as a team to accomplish a goal, and these are the skills necessary for any entrepreneur to be successful. So veteran-owned firms represent a unique force with the American economy, where roughly 9% of all small firms in the United States are veteran-owned. And that's a unique number because you know that we are a all-volunteer force where less than 1% of the American population actively serve in the U.S. military. So historically, about 1 in 6 veterans do choose self-employment as their vocation. And there are some programs that are there to assist those veteran-owned and also spouse veteran-owned small businesses. So the three primary areas that I'm going to be just talking about briefly about are counseling, capital, or contracting, or what we like to say, start, grow, and expand. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about the three of those. So here on the screen, you see that there are 6 counseling and training programs that are available. Today, I'm just going to focus on the top 3. So the first one is our Veterans Business Outreach Center, or what we call VBOX. And there are 28 centers nationwide who are full resource partners who provide SBA resource navigation and referrals. They are typically in growth-focused areas such as high vet population areas such as Norfolk Naval Station, Fort Sam Houston, some of those things right there where there's a large density of veterans. Now, VBOX are the lead resource partner in regards to the next programs we're going to talk about. And they also work with the SBA and the transition service managers to conduct the Boots to Business Reboot classes. Now, for here in Minnesota, our VBOC is unique because that's actually housed out of Wisconsin, but it takes care of Wisconsin, Illinois, and Minnesota. Our VBOC has 2 co-directors, both of who are veterans themselves and small business owners. So they've been there, done that, and they have a wealth of knowledge to be able to share with you. The next 2 programs, it's called the Boots to Business and Boots to Business Reboot program. And this is a 2-step entrepreneurial training program, with the first step being either a 1 or a 2-day classroom or online course that focuses on business basics. The second step is an 8-week online course offered through the Mississippi State University that follows and provides in-depth instruction on the elements of a small business plan and guidance about starting a business. Now, both the Boots to Business and the Boots to Business Reboot are exactly the same, except for the audience. Boots to Business is offered to current military personnel who are transitioning out of the military soon, while the Boots to Business Reboot is offered to all other era veterans, spouses, and their dependents at no cost. So on the screen here, you do see that there are some links. I will be providing a slide deck to Mark, so that way you have a copy of this. Anything that's in blue and underlined will be a direct link to those resources. Now, the next big area that everybody always reaches out to the SBA about is access to capital. Most people are aware of how the SBA works with our lending partners, where we guarantee a portion of the loan back to the lender. You can use the proceeds from an SBA-backed loan to launch, grow, or repair a startup, start or purchase a small business, purchase, renovate, expand facilities, purchase inventory, equipment, and so forth. Now, the interesting part about the programs here, we have a couple of different ones. There's the loan guarantee program, which is called our General 7A, which includes our cap line, our preferred lender loans, and community advantage loans, and also the 7A Express. There's the 504 loan, the microloan, and then the disaster loans. Now, out of all of the loan guarantee programs that you see here, 73% of those loans are typically around $350,000 to veterans. And that's why the Express Loan Program plays an important part in being able to assist veterans and their spouses getting that access to capital. Now, one thing I do want to talk about here is you see there, it says no grants for businesses. Unless you can cure cancer while putting somebody on Mars, getting a grant from the federal government is extremely difficult. Now, it's not saying that you can't go and look at grants.gov to see if other federal agencies are providing grants. Just know that the federal government is in the process of reviewing and awarding grants for fiscal year 27, 28, and 29, which means that they have already received proposals for grants starting last year and into this year. Now, the SBA itself does not lend the money. We do the loan guarantee to the lenders, and those guarantees will vary. So any loan through the General 7A Express, which is loans up to $500,000, is guaranteed at 50%. The traditional 7A is guaranteed from 50 to 85%, and then export loans are guaranteed up to 90%. The terms can vary. So for working capital and equipment, it's typically 10 years. And for commercial real estate, it's 25 years. Now, there is a benefit to veterans and their spouses through the 7A Express loan. There is a fee waiver for loans up to $500,000, which is a huge benefit to veterans because typically for a loan, just say you do borrow that full $500,000, a lender wants 20% down, which is $100,000. Well, the SBA used the fees to be able to fund the program without using taxpayer money. So for just roughly that $500,000, the guarantee fee would be about $12,000. But as a veteran or a spouse of a veteran, that fee waiver is waived. So then you're getting that 50% guarantee. You're just not paying for the fees. There may be some ancillary costs that you have to put in there, such as an application fee and so forth, but you can do that. Now, to be eligible for the fee waiver, you must let the lender know that you are a veteran. They do not have to ask. It's not on the application process. You must also be 51% more owned or controlled by a veteran, service-disabled veteran, active duty service member who's transitioning out, a current spouse of any veteran, active duty service member, or reservist, or be a widow of a veteran or service-disabled veteran-owned small business. Our next one is the 504 program. This is that three-party debenture where the SBA and a private lender work with a borrower on large projects that are typically going to increase in value or bring some economic stimulus to a community. Typically, a private lender puts up 50%. The SBA, through one of our certified development company, puts up 40%. And then you, the borrower, have to put up 10%, or a non-federal entity that will be a third-party collateral position on the loan can put up that 10%, and that's considered gap financing. Again, this is for long-term fixed entities, such as existing buildings, improvements, building from the ground up, street improvements, and so forth. There's also our microloan program, and these are loans up to $50,000. Typically, most lenders are reluctant to do loans under $100,000 just because the return on investment may not be there for them. That doesn't mean that some lenders don't, but just sometimes they are leery to do that. And that's where the microlender program comes into play. These microlenders receive a loan first from the federal government and then in turn reloan the money out to those who need that small access to capital. Interest rates may be a little bit higher just because these are nonprofits that take out these microloans, and they need that additional fee to be able to house and service the loans. But if you do receive a microloan, through the life of the microloan, that microlender has to provide technical assistance. And then our final one is most people are aware of that there is the disaster assistance that the SBA can do if there's a declared disaster. It can be used for real estate, personal property, economic injury, and so forth. Then our final area is contracting. And this is where the SBA provides assistance to small businesses to gain an upper hand in government contracting. There are a couple of set-asides that we're going to be talking about. First and foremost is the veteran-owned or service-disabled veteran-owned small business certification. The SBA took this certification process over from the VA in January of 2024. We have streamlined the process. It's about a 20 to 30 minute long application. Our team is turning around certifications in about 30 days or less. And then once you are certified as a veteran-owned or service-disabled veteran-owned small business, that is a set-aside that contracting officers look at when you are bidding on government jobs. To be eligible, again, 51% owned by a veteran-owned small business, be considered small, defined by the SBA size standards, and be certified through our portal. Our next one is the 8A Business Development Program. This is to help small disadvantaged businesses grow. Small disadvantaged businesses are those that are owned and controlled by persons who are presumed socially and economically disadvantaged. Must be 51% owned and controlled by a U.S. citizen who is socially or economically disadvantaged and discriminated against, and have a personal net worth of $750,000 or less, and must demonstrate good character and potential to perform on contracts. The 8A Business Development Program is a 9-year program if you are accepted into the program, where you receive technical assistance from the SBA through one of our business development specialists, and they could be able to help you bid or gain government contracts. Hub Zone stands for Historically Underutilized Business Zones. Hub Zones program was to establish economic and growth in those areas that are distressed. A couple examples that I can give of economically distressed areas here are some of the areas around the Arden Hills where the old Twin Cities munition plant used to be, or where I-94 went through North Minneapolis. Those are considered hub zones because they actually damaged some of the businesses back in the day. Must be a small business again, 51% owned by a U.S. citizen or a community development corporation, ag cooperative, Alaska Native Corporation, Native Hawaiian organization, or a Native American tribe. Additionally, you must have your principal office located in that hub zone, and at least 35% of your employees must live in a hub zone. Not necessarily the hub zone where the business is located, they just need to live in a hub zone. And our final set aside is for women-owned small business, which is defined by several key tenets. The program applies only to contracts in designated industries, and only women-owned small businesses or economically disadvantaged women-owned small businesses are eligible. It must be small business again, 51% owned and controlled by a woman who are U.S. citizens, and have a woman manage the day-to-day operations and also long-term decisions. Now, the reason I talk about these is you, as a small business owner, may have more than one of these set-asides that you can apply for or currently applied for. So it's important to, if you're a veteran-owned small business, to take a look and see if you are in a hub zone, or if you're a woman veteran, if you're in a hub zone, because the more set-asides you have, the higher on the list that you can move when you are doing bids with contracts with government offices. One of the other things here we are doing, the SBA is switching over to what's called the My SBA certification portal, which is going to be a one-stop shop for certifying your business in those 4 set-aside programs. There's going to be a way to be able to see if your business is ready to be certified. You can start preparing your application. Does your business qualify to be in a hub zone, and much more. We also have our Apex Accelerators, which is a state agency that provides technical and no-cost assistance to strengthen Minnesota's economy by stimulating that job growth, creation, and business retention. They can help with one-on-one counseling, GSA schedules, post-award assistance, bid matching, all of those things right there. Now, one of the other unique benefits of being a veteran-owned small business is our surplus property program. This is where veteran-owned or service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses who are certified with the SBA may purchase that surplus government property. Now, for those of you who are veterans on here, I know you're probably thinking of the type of equipment that we turned into Dermo that was held together by duct tape, tears, and dreams. This isn't the same kind of equipment. This is equipment from other federal agencies that are been better maintained, such as maybe furniture from the VA or IT equipment from HUD or even vehicles from the Department of Agriculture, Forestry Service, something like that. If you are a certified small business, if you are a certified veteran-owned or service-disabled veteran-owned small business, you may be able to go and take a look at the Fleet Services Center in Arden Hills, just off of 35W, I believe it is. They do have a warehouse of equipment there that you may be able to go and take a look at. But again, for you to be able to purchase equipment, you must be certified with the SBA. There are other resources that Mark has already talked about a little bit here. You know, our small business development centers, there are 9 of them scattered around the state. They provide that technical assistance in greater Minnesota and here in the Twin Cities. We also have 4 SCORE chapters that are also scattered around the state. SCORE are small business owners who are volunteering their time and expertise to help you develop your business plan, look at your finances, your financial projections, those type of things to be able to help your business grow and expand. And they provide those services confidentially and at no cost. There are also 3 women's business centers here in Minnesota, with one in the Twin Cities called Women Venture, and then 2 called the Women's Business Alliance in Duluth and Little Falls. They have some programs that are specifically tailored to women entrepreneurs, but any and everybody can utilize the Women's Business Center. So I highly recommend that any small business owner use all of our resource partners, the multiple sets of eyes that you can have on your business plan, your finances, and financial projections, the better. You may also follow us on LinkedIn at SBA_Minnesota. We do provide updated information on training alerts and events through the SBA and our resource partners, funding alerts, policy updates, and those types of things right there. Additionally, you'll see here there is a QR code and also a link. I do ask that if you could take time out of your day to provide any updates or do a survey just to help us out. Just as the only way that we can get better to make sure that we're providing the services that you need. And if there's anything that you want to share, you can do so. You can also follow our office at sba.gov/updates. I do recommend that you put in your local zip code, so then that way you get information that is pertinent to Minnesota. And our contact information is there at the bottom. You can email us at minnesota@sba.gov, or you can reach out to us at 612-370-2324. And so, Mark, I know we're going to go into the questions section, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave this on the screen, and we can go to any questions if anybody has any. So you can either type it in the chat feature, or you can raise your hand and Mark can call on you. Or if Mark, if you have any questions, just ask away.
Sure. I always like to start out, Don, which is the most current Minnesota lender list? Because I use that all the time. I see on the SBA site, there's a 2020 list. I've been using the 2022 list of the SBA lenders. Which one should I be using?
Just be paying attention to here. Hopefully within the next week or 2, I'm going to get a most recent updated. It's one of the many hats that I'm wearing here in the office. So I'm in the process of finalizing that list. Once I get that list updated, I'll be working with our IT team at headquarters to get the PDF uploaded to the website. Goal is to have it done by Monday at the very latest.
Awesome. Cool.
So great question there.
I guess I should reference that. That is the list of Minnesota financial institutions that participate in the lender list. Those are the banks, credit unions that actually facilitate the monies. Got it. Yep.
Yes. So what is an interesting thing to add into that? Minnesota has the 2nd most lenders in the nation. And right now we have the 3rd most active lenders in the nation. And that's unique to think about, because the only other offices that are above the Minnesota district office is the Chicago district office and the Dallas district office. And those are 2 major metropolitan areas. And we are an entire state. So that's the interesting part right there.
Okay, great. So we got a question here. We help veterans find jobs, but some want to start a business. If a veteran comes in and asks, where do I start? Where should we tell them to start?
You
Um,
can have them reach
yeah.
out to me directly. You can either send them to my email, which is don.jackson@sba.gov. You can also recommend that they reach out to a local SCORE chapter if they're in the Twin Cities. If they're in Greater Minnesota, they can reach out to one of the local small business development centers, depending on where they're located in Greater Minnesota. But I
Yep.
would love to have a conversation with any veteran. Additionally, I'm going to be doing a more detailed training that we did today on the 23rd of April. And I'm also going to go into a little bit more detail about the new memorandum agreement that the SBA has with the Veterans Administration on the Chapter 31 VR&E program.
Yep. And just to add to that, contact all of us. Yeah, same time. I mean, we overlap services. There's so many aspects about starting a business. There's you won't be turned away that, oh, we don't do this or we don't do that. There's aspects, because if you're looking for funding, if you're looking how to register a business, we all help everybody in there. Another question is, where can we access the links in the presentation? Um, Don will share his slide deck. Many of the things that we talk about are in his slide deck. Um, we have most of this information is currently in our guide to starting a business in Minnesota. That's certainly available on our website for download in our guide on our site that's linked. So those are two resources right there.
Yes, certainly.
So
So when I
yeah.
do provide the slide deck to Mark, like I said before, anything
Yep.
that's in blue and underlined will be a direct link.
Yep.
So any other questions there, Mark?
So far, no. We have a good number of people that are on the call. I mean, 87, so we can expand that out. I mean, what else can people get help from the SBA, Don? Just even expand that out.
Certainly. So the biggest thing that I just let every small business owner know is the importance of making sure that you are updating your business plan regularly. And that's where those resource partners can come in. If you
Hmm.
take time to look at your finances at the end of your month, add another 5 or 10 minutes to take a look at your business plan because it's your roadmap. Tells you where you've been, where you're going, and if you need to pivot at any moment. Additionally, when you do reach out to anybody for access to capital, be it a lender or an investor, they want to see that business plan. They want to know your story. They want to know what's the return on investment for them and what are the risks and how are those risks being mitigated. And one of the biggest things that I'd let everybody know
Yep.
about when they're developing their business plan is to make sure you're creating your bail team. And your bail team is your banker, your accountant, information technology and insurance, and
Okay.
legal.
Yeah. Yep.
And the reason I bring those up is because 4 out of those 5 entities are going to have a cost associated with them. And if you're not building that into your finances at this time, you're already in the negative.
Hmm. Yeah. Super good point. And also, your business plan is not a one-time set in stone. You're
Mhm.
always kind of looking at that, this little thing called COVID that came in, and it's like, whoop, let's pivot. Um, there are things that needed to change. I mean, we have the stock market doing many things in the last 48 to 72 hours that isn't always negative for everybody. There are opportunities, so that business plan can change. And
Mhm.
and here's something kind of connected to that with the next question here. Can you go into some detail about purchasing real estate for veteran-owned businesses? Do we need to give pro forma? So some of those things, maybe some people need to sell their real estate, so that may be an opportunity for somebody to buy real estate. So can you
Mhm.
address that question?
Well, certainly. So, one of the things I do want to clarify when we talk about using an SBA guaranteed loan for real estate, it has to be for commercial purposes, and you must own or occupy 51% or more of the square footage. So
Okay.
you cannot use an SBA loan to purchase a home to flip it. You can't use it for any type of a passive investment or other type of entity that could be illegal. Right now, we are currently getting quite a few phone calls of individuals that want to get into the cannabis industry.
Yep. Yep.
Just
Okay.
because it's legal in Minnesota, it's still illegal federally.
Okay.
So we cannot provide any type of lending assistance in that arena. So again, going back to the real estate side of things, if you do want to purchase that commercial property, there are going to be some requirements that you're going to have to work with through the lender. Depending on what's going on, there's going to be assessments, just like you would do for any other type of a property, such as having it inspected. Some of them may actually have an environmental review, all those different things right there. So it is unique that if you're going to be going into purchasing property, that you do work with a lender and they're going to provide a lot of the details. What we do here in our district office is we provide the compliance and oversight for all of our partners, including our lending partners. So if there are any issues that need to be escalated or sent up to headquarters or to leadership, we can do that. We can step in to be able to make sure that that is addressed.
Okay. Great answer. The next question, the simple answer is yes. This meeting is being recorded. We put it up on our website. It goes on to our YouTube channel. So yeah, as soon as we can do that, I usually try and get that done in a day or two. So yeah, as much information as we can make available. Yep, we record this. Um, yep, great questions. Um, Trying to think of other things that I use the SBA information quite a bit when I speak to people and really trying to inform them. And I'm kind of particular with my language, Don, when I try and talk to people. I don't use it. These are SBA loans. These are
Mhm.
SBA. This is the SBA Guaranteed Loan Program because it does make a difference. It isn't I'm getting money from 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 the SBA because you you need to learn, I would say for people, and I'm including myself in that, the right language to speak when you're going in and talking to lenders because it does make a difference. Yep.
Correct. And that is the importance of knowing that it is a just a guaranteed back loan.
Yep.
For those individuals who are on the phone here who are veterans or maybe currently have a VA home loan guarantee, the program is very similar to that. So if you've gone through the VA
Okay.
home loan
Yeah.
guarantee, it'll be just like that for the SBA. One other thing I do want to bring up a little bit about going back to the business plans. One of
Yep.
the things that I try to let small business owners think about is your business plan is almost like a resume. You're going to tailor your business plan for who your audience is going to be each time.
Yep.
So you may have your own business plan that you use to be able to pivot and do things that you be
Yep.
able to just pencil up all the time. But you have a clean one to go to a lender, a clean one to go talk to, just your, an investor or something like that. Just think of it as a resume more than anything.
I mean, good point. So if we focus on that, the SBA sponsors SCORE, sponsors the SBDCs, and the state does too. And that's really what I talk to people about is a classic story is the SBDC in central Minnesota, working with someone who went in there 9 times for a presentation. I don't know if it was the same lender, but you tweak it. It's a conversation you have with a lender. Just because a lender says no doesn't mean it's always no. It's you're also shopping for funding too. It doesn't mean that one answer is no. A question I get down to is that do the lenders set their interest rates? I mean, they're part of the programs, but they can tweak what they want to get out of the loan itself. I mean, they set the terms, kind
Correct.
of.
So
Okay.
the loan guarantee program is the lender's funds. So they're going to be depending on a couple things. One, if they're a preferred lender, that means they do the underwriting in the house, they approve it, you can get the loans within a couple of days, and go from
Okay.
there. If they're not a preferred lender and it has to go to one of our servicing centers, it does maybe take a couple of weeks for the loan to get approved and the funds dispersed. But the lender cannot go above, I believe 13% is the max that they can go on the loan. And so usually what we say, it's typically, I think, prime plus 2% is usually what the lenders are doing. So I think prime right now is roughly 5.9%, and it
Okay,
changes every so often. So it's also, if the Fed cuts the rate here at any time soon, you may see the interest rate go down. But the max that the lenders can do at this time is 13%, and that is subject to change also.
great. I mean, those are terms when you're looking to borrow. Those are those are good terms to learn. Okay,
Yep.
we have one comment which is really good. Lender Match is a great tool to match prospects to potential lenders. That's you can find that on the SBA site itself. We have a question here from Drake. What documents does the oh great. Hey, I need this comment back here. What documents does the lender need to verify that the individuals will qualify for the vet product?
So really the only thing that a veteran needs to provide is if they're applying for the 7A Express to get that fee waiver, is they just need to let them know that they're a veteran, and the lender may ask to see either a DD-214 or a letter from the VA saying that you're receiving some type of a VA assistance, either be it medical, school, home, or you have a disability rating. That's all they're going to be require. It does also mean that you must be also a um, honorably discharged veteran.
Okay, super important. Yep.
Mhm.
All right, we seem to be going over a little bit of the same ground, but basically
Yeah.
SBA, SBDCs, SCORE, the Small Business Assistance Office, and then within those there are many regional local partners that yes, can get matched up in.
Correct.
Do we have any other questions from the audience? Wanted to grab our, while I'm thinking of it here. I don't see any other questions. Sarah threw in the link to the Small Business Development Centers. Oh, we got another question come in as this comes here. Put out of my new messages. Can you explain the cooperation between SBA and SCORE?
Certainly. So the SBA, as a federal agency, provides funding at the high level to SCORE, and SCORE is a nonprofit nationwide that provides the technical assistance in developing your business plan, mentorship, all those things right there. So SCORE is just a big nonprofit that provides that mentorship across the nation. Every state has at least one district, or excuse me, has one SCORE chapter. Minnesota has 4 SCORE chapters at this time, looking to maybe grow that here soon. So again, what we do is we do provide that compliance and oversight. So we make sure that they're providing services, and if there's any issues with those services, we can step in with our leadership to see what we can do to resolve them.
And I believe if I remember this correctly, Don, I think Twin Cities is the largest chapter.
Twin
Um,
Cities is one of the
yep.
largest chapters in the nation. It's also one of the most active. So,
Yes.
what I tell everybody is, if you can't find a mentor in the Twin Cities chapter, that doesn't mean that there isn't somebody out there. It could be that you maybe need to reach out to another chapter around the nation. An example I can give, there was somebody here that wanted to get into fashion, and there was high-end fashion that they were trying to get into. And the mentor that they kept getting here was focusing more on Minnesota fashion, which is what they weren't looking for. They were tired of the flannel and the whatever type of beanie hats they had.
Yeah.
But they got set up with a mentor in New York that was a different type of fashion mentor
Yep.
and was really helped them.
Yep. There are there's profiles for the mentors. You can go see what somebody looks like. It's nice to put a face to that. They have their summaries.
Mhm.
They have I've listened to and I've been using this one a lot. I listened to recorded webinars, live webinars, and I was watching one recently and I went, hey, I know that guy. Hey, that's our office building. And it was one of our employees, Jason Burek, our one of our finance people. And it was like, this is great. I didn't know he was participating in that. So
Mhm.
um, phenomenal resource to use. What I was just going to do is I had this pulled up here. Launch Minnesota is part of DEED, and we have a startup and small business calendar. So I just figure we're getting near the end of our questions. No one else seems to have questions for right now, so that's great. Oh no, sorry, we have another question that came in here, but the small business calendar is really good. There's a lot of, I just using that with someone today. A lot of different events, how to network. Legal Core is in here. There's a lot of there's a SCORE webinar, Digital Basics, so there's a lot of good events on here. We do have another question here is, who will administer SBA's, come on, you got to stay there, mentor protege program going forward? So I'm not exactly sure what the question is or what's behind it, but who will administer?
I can speak to that. So the SBA Mentor Protege program is a program for government contracting where a small business can work with a larger business, and that larger business can use the certification to bid on jobs. As of right now, I've heard there was no changes to the Mentor Protege program, but it may be something that I need to look into because there has been some very rapid changes within the last couple of weeks to months with the new administration. So if you need some specifics on that, you can email me again at don.jackson@sba.gov, and I can start taking a deep dive into that and see what information I can find for you.
That sounds like a really interesting program. Yep. All right, as the people who run the auction, the auctioneers say, going once, going twice. Sold. If we don't have any more questions, it's been now we have another comment, and then we have this. Yeah, you can only apply for 8A program once. Is that right?
You can apply. You can you can apply and be accepted only once. Okay, so if you apply and you're not accepted, you can apply again, but you can only be in the 8A business development program one time.
Okay. Thanks, Arlette. Okay. There we go. All right, super great information. Always,
hey, Mark,
always a, yep.
I think Babette raised her hand.
Oh, let's go. Always need a second set of eyes. Go ahead, Babette.
So quick question for the 8A program, just for clarification's sake, if an owner was in the 8A program and started a new company and is co-owner of that company, is that company able to apply for 8A? A new company?
It would depend on the percentage of the ownership, I believe, but that is something I need to pull the string on some more just to verify. So like if they own 51% or more of the new business, then no, I don't think they can qualify. But if they only own 20% or less, they may, but I need to find out some more information and get back to you.
Okay, and that the previous owner owned 100% and now owns 49%.
Okay, let me find out some more information on that just so that we can know, because again, there are some ins and outs and some wording there that we want to make sure that we're giving you the correct information.
Can I further ask a question on that? Because we do get this quite often from people. So are we talking self-certification, and what type of documentation is the SBA looking for?
So for the 8A program, it is not self-certification. It's an actual application. They're going to review that application. And if you are accepted into the program, then you are in the 8A business development program. So it's not like, the veteran-owned, service-disabled veteran-owned, woman-owned, or HUBZone. Yes, there is self-certification, but then the SBA does go back and do verifications on those. So if you register to be a HUBZone certification, we're going to double check your map. We're going to double check the percentage of employees you have. We're going to ask for where they're living, make sure that 35% is in a HUBZone. For the veteran-owned or service-disabled veteran-owned, we are working with the VA to make sure that you are a veteran. So that's the one big thing I do want to let everybody know about. If you are a veteran and you have not been to the VA, I understand there are a lot of veterans out there who are maybe leery of the VA, but you need to be in their system. I know a lot of people have said, well, I never served in combat. I never had an injury. What would I don't need a percentage. Well, zero is still a number. You can be 0% and still be considered a veteran. Okay. And
Okay.
especially those veterans who may have served prior to 9/11, back during the Cold War or something like that. You're still a veteran just because you didn't actually serve in combat or during a time of conflict. You are a veteran. So please make sure you're using the Veterans Administration because they are there for you.
Okay. I was asking it just a little bit differently. How do you certify that someone is an owner of a business? Like their percentages. I mean, that is self-certification, correct?
That is
Yeah.
self-certification, correct on that side. But then the SBA also does work with the Department or the Secretary of State's office. Because sometimes there's no, maybe I'm not thinking of a different state. Sorry.
Yep. Yep.
That's my fault there. Because this is
Oh,
my
no
second
problem.
state with the SBA, and that something else popped in my head. That's why
Yeah.
it was different.
Yeah, it is one of those things where it's not challenging, but people think, well, I need to change the owner of my business, or just like Babette's question is like, well, I'm 51%, and it's like only, at least in Minnesota, only you know that. So it's however you've designated that, and I'm not telling people go ahead and change it for this or go ahead and change it for that, but that's documentation that you have. So however you set that up, you know it. So that's something you know ahead of time. There isn't a filing for that. So
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So I can speak to that. I purchased shares in
Okay,
the business, and so I became a majority owner through purchase of those shares. So it's documented in the certificates, the
in your
certificate
membership
sheet.
agreement. Yeah,
Yeah, in the membership agreement. And then also, I
Yep.
believe in the filing, because we had to refile our articles of incorporation with the share to show. So we did actually file something with the state of Minnesota showing that.
Okay. There really isn't a place to file that with the Secretary of State. You can choose to file extra documentation if you want to, but yes, there isn't a requirement to file that. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Show your portion. Okay, so I'll let again. In Minnesota, you will have to show your portion of owner within your articles of corporation. Yes, you can file them with the Secretary of State if you want to. Yeah, it's some of that. I wouldn't say minutia, but you have minimum requirements. But if you want to have more documentation, yes, then you can choose to file those things if that's what you think you're going to need to use. All right, I see no hands raised. I see no more comments. All right. And now with that, we have made it to 45 minutes. Good deal. Okay. I think we will call that the end of the meeting. And like I said, we will get the information posted as soon as possible.
All right. Well, thank you, Mark.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks again, Don. Really useful. Good
welcome.
information.
Happy anytime you want. Just let me know. I'll be more than happy to talk about just about anything and everything.
All right. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Hey,
Thanks for joining us.
have a good day.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.